I know that ain't who I think it is.
I ain't dreaming.
What is this? Huh? This is rock.
Hell no.
Check out that text when you 5 in the morning, you probably done paying your lease. Wanna get out of the country, you say you wanna go on a trip out of Greece. Wanna get out of the country, wanna get different, you wanna get runchy. Buy the ticket right now, you tell me you want me.
But let's keep it going.
There are 124 teams that collectively make up the Big Four American sports leagues. Among MLB, the NBA, the NFL, and the NHL, certain franchises have experienced multiple championships, winning records, and Hall of Fame players that have marked their teams as being some of the greatest in American sports. This makes for an interesting question about which team could be considered the best out of all of them. It's a fun discussion, but what about the other side of it?
The team that could be the best out of all of them, honestly, you can say these names and can't go wrong with almost any of them. In my opinion, if I go back, I think that I'm not going to include hockey because I don't really watch hockey. I know the Canadians cook. Y'all do y'all thing. I'm going to go. This is my top three in no order. Lakers, Patriots, Warriors. No order. Whatever order you want to do, you can do that.
Considered the best out of all of them. It's a fun discussion, but what about the
Warriors? Have you seen what they did? Do you know that the Warriors are one of the most valuable franchises in the NBA now? Are you awake? Are you crazy to know what's going on with them? Boston? Oh yeah, I got Boston in there too. I'm not gonna lie, what the Warriors doing though. Shout out to Boston, man. I respect y'all. Yo, that Warriors is ridiculous, bro. It would be ridiculous.
The other side of the coin. While some teams have been
27 chips, yes, that is true. I get you.
Historically great, other teams have been drowning in sadness and irrelevance. These teams have had too many losing seasons, too few playoff appearances, and practically zero trophies to display. And that's what I'm interested in.
I put Boston. You know what? I'm gonna correct that. Then now I got to do 5. I put Boston in there. I picked it up. I don't want to have too many basketball teams though. Let's go. No order. Lakers, Celtics. I'm still putting the Warriors in there. Patriots. Probably go Yankees. No order. I'm gonna stand by that.
124 teams, and one of them has to be the worst. This is my search for the worst American sports team.
Okay, part 1. Talk to me.
Now, examining each team individually would be a waste of time. Some teams have just been way too good for them to ever be considered the worst.
Yep.
Is it worth asking if the Yankees and Patriots could be considered as the worst team ever?
Not at all.
No, because they've won multiple championships and some of the best players in their sports were on their teams. This means I had to shrink the number of teams down that were considered.
So let me guess some of the teams that's going to be eliminated. I want to guess at least 5 teams that's eliminated. Without, I'm not doing the Patriots, Yankees, all that. All right, boom. The Kansas City Chiefs, easily. We're going to get y'all the fuck up out of here. We're going to get y'all up out of the way. We are also going to take the Miami Heat. We're going to get y'all up out of the way. This is actually, I don't think this is going to be too pretty hard. The Houston Astros, we're going to get y'all up out of the way as well. We'll deal with it as you will. So those are 3. Another team that we're going to get up out of the way. Did I say the Eagles? The Dallas Cowboys, we're going to get y'all up out of the way. 4. And I want to do one more. I want to do one more low-key one. Give me another low-key one. The Niners. Oh, the Niners not low-key. We can take the Niners out of here, though. Dodgers. Oh, the Packers. There we go. Packers not low-key. Oh, well, you know, I shouldn't say low-key because everybody going to hold on to that word. But I'll stick by those 5.
With a rough goal of around 5 or so teams that could be argued as the worst. In order to eliminate some teams, there were 2 qualifications that I decided on. Any team that's won multiple
The Bruins?
championships
Yo,
or
that's
has a win-loss record
Boston's hockey
above
team, right?
500 would
Tough.
not be considered. This made sense to me. For a team to win multiple championships, that means that they were the best team
Yes,
in
sir.
their league at least 2 separate times. And for a team to have a win-loss record above 500, that means that they win more games than they lose, which at least means they're decent. This got rid of a lot of teams. 84
Okay.
of them fit into one of these two categories, and a lot of them fit into both. Because as it turns out, when a team wins multiple championships, that means they're also probably winning a lot of games.
Yep.
Unless you're the Buccaneers or the Marlins, who have the worst win-loss records in their leagues, but they've each won 2 championships.
Shout out to Tom
Sports
Brady.
can be weird. This meant there were 39 teams left to be examined, which was still way too
God. Chat, is your favorite team still on here or not? And you go to different leagues. I got one team. I have one team. No, yeah, nope. Let me make sure. Yeah, fucking Texans. They holding me back, bro.
too many to look at individually. The next factor that I decided on was to eliminate any team that has won only one championship, but at least has made multiple appearances in the championship. This only got rid of 6 teams, so I decided to just eliminate any team that has at least won a championship, even if they've only had that one appearance.
I agree.
This shrunk
I
the
agree with
number
this.
down to 28. Now, you may ask why I didn't just eliminate every championship winning team sooner. Wouldn't that criteria obviously exclude any team from being the worst? And my answer to that is very simple.
Oh, man. Man. You know what, bro? Let me like this video. Because I like the way, man, I like the way you do a video, man. This is all right.
If depression was a football team, it would probably manifest as the New York Jets.
Yes.
Their win-loss record is .437, which is the 6th worst in the league. The team has only made the playoffs 14 times, which is the 5th lowest in the NFL.
Oh my God.
For a team that was created in 1959, that makes this number look even worse.
Oh my
Often
God.
the Jets serve as the punching bag for the other teams in their division, and they're better known for their embarrassing moments than any sort of success.
Lord have mercy.
The only real moment of success for the Jets was in Super Bowl III, in which quarterback Joe Namath
Casey, thank you for the sub,
guaranteed
gang.
the
Welcome to the
Baltimore
community.
Colts. His guarantee held true, and they went on to win the only Super Bowl that they've appeared in. The closest they've been to returning was when they made back-to-back appearances in the AFC Championship in the early 2010s. However, both times the Jets could not get it done. And since losing that game to the Steelers, the Jets have not returned to the playoffs once.
Lord.
14 years have gone by, and not a
Lord.
single playoff game has had the Jets in them.
Oh my goodness, bro. Bro, to
But-
be one of the original teams and to only make the playoffs 14 times, I just feel like that's insane.
Even still, the Jets did win that Super Bowl. It may have been in a time that most people don't remember, but they at least have won a championship before. There are way more teams that qualify as being the worst. In order to truly find the worst sports team, I had to look way, way lower.
All right, bro. Just kick us out, please, bro. Do something to help
At this
us.
point, my job was to separate the bad teams from the absolutely terrible teams. This was not easy. All the remaining teams have not won a championship and have lost most of the games that they play. Still,
Get the Panthers up out of there.
some teams had to be eliminated. The next factor that I considered was any team that has not won a championship, but has at the very least made multiple appearances.
Panthers are
The
going.
logic behind this was simple. Any team that makes the playoffs can luck their way into making the championship. Doing this multiple times is either extreme luck, or the team has had repeated success that just fell short. This got rid of some known chokers, most prominently the Buffalo Bills and the Vancouver Canucks, and shrunk the number of teams down to 19. But at this point, I was lost for what to do next. There were still 19 teams left,
This video deadass might end up in the Texans, and I'm going to be pissed.
all of which were worthy contenders. In order to shrink the number down even more, I decided that a combination of 4 factors would determine which teams I would consider for the worst. Conference championship appearances.
God!
All of these teams practically never play in the championship game, but some of these teams have had multiple appearances in their conference's championship. If a team has many conference championship appearances, that at least means they are sometimes making deep playoff runs. Playoff record. This went off of each team's playoff series record. Sure, a team making the playoffs all the time might seem like a good thing, but what's the point if they're always losing in the first round?
Absolutely.
Playoff appearance.
We don't be doing that.
Even though I said it's not good for a team to always lose.
We
in the
lose
first
second round.
Playoffs, making the playoffs is still important. Now, I admit this factor heavily weighs against MLB teams, since their postseason used to have only 8 and sometimes only 4 teams that made it, whereas the NBA has always had 16 teams that make the playoffs. And finally, win-loss record. When all else fails, is the team even winning games? None of these teams win a lot, but some of them do win a lot more often than others. With all these factors considered, I ranked all the remaining 19 teams for the 4 different categories.
Okay. Conference championships. We are tied for 14, meaning that we ain't been in there. Playoffs. Our record in the playoffs. We had 5. We had 5. We had 5. We had 5. Playoff appearances. We're at 3. We had 3. Win-loss. Good. We had 14.
And I took their average ranks and sorted them.
Okay.
What I got was not all that surprising. The Titans and Chargers were towards the top of the list, which made sense considering they've had their moments but just haven't been able to ever fully put it together. Some of the expansion era NBA teams were towards the bottom, which again made sense considering these teams have accomplished basically nothing. But hang on a second. Why are the Browns at the top? And the Lions aren't in the worst spot either? Don't both these teams suck? Why are they not at the bottom?
Yep.
The NFL has been around for a long time. The first season began all the way back in 1920, and the Lions have been around since almost the beginning, being created in 1929.
Yep.
The
Count
Browns
that
were joined
against
later
them.
in 1944, but are still considered one of the legacy teams of the NFL. If you're like me and you're a nerd about NFL history, you might have been a little confused that I didn't already eliminate these teams from consideration, because both the Lions and the Browns have won NFL championships before.
That don't
Both
count.
teams won 4 NFL championships and were easily some of the best teams of the 1950s.
It was 2.5 teams in the league. We do not count those.
But that's not what their legacy is.
And they didn't even let they don't let black people or people of color in there. With that, we do not count them.
In 1967, the first Super Bowl game was played,
Gas was a nickel. Stop playing.
which created the now established Super Bowl era and left the NFL championship era to be mostly forgotten.
Yes, sir.
The
Good.
Super Bowl era has not been kind to either of these teams. The Browns and the Lions are the only teams to finish a season 0-16.
Yep.
Not a single Super Bowl
Count
game
it.
has had either the Browns or the Lions in it. Neither team makes the playoffs very often.
Oh my
And when
God,
they do,
3?
It's often short-lived.
Oh my God. They got 3 wins in the Super Bowl and they're original team.
Neither team makes the playoffs very often, and when they do, it's often short-lived. That's not to say that there's never been promise for these teams. The Lions were able to win 15 games in 2024.
Yes, sir.
The most in franchise history.
Great team.
The Browns might be rebuilding right now.
I think I might
but they
always
did
remember
have
that Lions
promise for
team.
their future just a few years ago. Time will tell if either of these teams will ever win a championship again. If you want to base this solely on the Super Bowl era, then there's a case to be made for both of these teams to be the worst sports teams in America.
Yep.
But to me, it doesn't seem completely fair to disregard the multiple
Man,
championships
hell
that
no!
both the Lions and the Browns won. Which is why I am deciding now that the Detroit Lions and Cleveland Browns will not be considered for the title of
What?
worst American sports team. I didn't want to look just at the rankings that I created and decide objectively which team was the worst.
I
It
fucking
would be
like
pretty
that.
boring if I did that, and again, my ranking system is not perfect. Instead, I wanted to use it as a guideline
That was
for
some
eliminating
bullshit.
some other teams. I already eliminated the Browns and Lions, and there are a few more teams that I want to get rid of.
Come on.
The Houston Texans have not seen much success since their first season in 2002. They have not made the Super Bowl, and they usually don't win many games. But even with the little amount of success that they've had, they've still accomplished more since joining in 2002 than other teams have in that time frame, so they will not be considered.
Bang, nigga! Bang, nigga! What's going on?
Deep, he's looking for Palmer. He's got the ball, and that's
It's
the
the ball game! Nigga! Fuck wrong with y'all, boy? Thank goodness I was about to dislike this video.
The Grizzlies and Pelicans are historically
Man, y'all nigga team still on the board is crazy. Y'all nigga team on the board is crazy.
not good
Woo!
NBA teams. However,
Let's do it,
both
y'all.
of these teams make the playoffs more often
You know what? I'm sorry, bro. I disrespected you, bro. Let's go.
than other NBA teams that
Let's
are
do the
left.
worst.
Neither of these teams will be considered.
Mickey
The
Count.
Arizona Coyotes had a case as the worst team in NHL. The key word being had, because now
They just
Arizona
stole that
doesn't
team.
have a hockey team. Instead, it's the Utah Hockey Club.
They stole
For
that
that
team. That's
reason
fucked
alone,
up.
I feel like giving them sympathy and not considering them for the worst. I won't go into reasons for all of the teams that I decided to not consider. Instead, I have 4 teams left that I'm going to make a case for being the worst in American sports.
Chat. If it's an NFL team, guess the team right now. Nigga said Cowboys, you're crazy. Cardinals, Titans. Titans have been eliminated. Jaguars. Jags. All right, it's more Jags. If it's an NBA team, guess the team. Talk to me. Hornets. Rockets. The Rockets won 2 championships. They've been eliminated. You out of your mind too. Wizards. It's everywhere with they got Clippers. Okay, it's Clippers and Hornets. I know this is gonna be a little less. If it's an MLB team, guess the team. If it's an MLB, the Mariners. Actually, Bobcats. They got the Rockies, and the Rockies is killing it. All right, and lastly, way less known, if it's an NHL team, what team would it be? If y'all know y'all NHL shit. Buffalo? I don't know. See, look, most niggas don't really know. Blue Jackets, I don't know. Okay. All right. The Sabres
But
bet that.
before I name the worst teams, I want to give a quick disclaimer. These teams are objectively bad teams, and at the end of the day, deciding on which team is the worst out of all of them is my opinion. You can make a case for
The
any of the
bitches.
remaining teams to be the worst, and I really wouldn't argue against you. And if any of these teams that I name wins a championship in the next couple of years, this video will become pretty dated quickly.
Yeah.
But that's enough rambling from me. Without further ado, let's begin with the first
The
team.
Final Four. Okay. Blue Jackets, why y'all so ass?
When you think about sports in the city of Columbus, you're probably going to think about Ohio State football before you even consider the Columbus Blue Jackets. The Blue Jackets played their first season in 2001 and finished with only 71 points and 28 wins. A team struggling in their first season is not uncommon,
Yup,
but the
it's
Blue
common.
Jackets would remain bad for years. They put together their first winning season and made the playoffs in 2009, 8 years after they first joined the NHL. But their moment of success was short-lived after getting swept by the Red Wings in the first round. The team would not make the playoffs again until 2014, in which they, once again, lost in the first round. The team
They are literally the same age. The Texans like 1 year younger than them. These niggas, I give them leeway because they're an expansion team, but yo, 2 winning seasons is ass.
team's best run of success was in the late 2010s, in which they had a stretch of 4 winning seasons and 4
there you go.
playoff appearances. However, they only managed to win 2 playoff series during this time. The second playoff series that they won was during the 2020 COVID season, in which more teams than usual made the playoffs, and it helped the Blue
Oh.
Jackets win a series for the second time in the franchise's history. The 2020s have
COVID
not
hockey
been
had
great
to
for
be
the team
crazy.
so far. Since the COVID season, the Blue Jackets have had losing records and missed the playoffs in each season. Things were a little more promising for the team in the 2025
Hey, Jersey
season,
lied, though.
as they won 40 games and were very close to making it back to the playoffs. But as it stands right now, they are historically the worst team in the NHL, and possibly the worst in American sports. The one thing that saves the Blue Jackets
Texans
is
don't
that
like
the
you crazy,
team
nigga.
is relatively new. Sure, they've
Yes,
been
you
around
gotta-
for some
you gotta-
time
you gotta
now,
count
and
that
newer
in.
teams have already shown the same or more success than Columbus. It would be much worse if they were around for over 50 years and had nothing to show for it, all while they had to watch their crosstown rivals surpass them in every single way.
Why are we still watching this video when these niggas is out? Why are we still when these niggas walking around, y'all? Here's your winner.
The little brother of Los Angeles. In 1970, the city of Buffalo was given an NBA team, known then as the Buffalo Braves. The team made the playoffs a few times in the 70s,
That's Jersey
but never
Queen?
saw much success during this time. In 1978, the team moved from Buffalo to San Diego and rebranded themselves as the San Diego Clippers. The team was not very successful after their initial streak of making the playoffs. In 1981, the scumbag known as Donald Sterling bought the team and forced them to move to Los Angeles. The move to LA did not help things turn around. The team kept having losing season after losing season. It wasn't until
I might be a hater. I don't think that no city deserves two major sports teams, okay? I think the fact that LA has two basketball teams is fucking nuts. But at the end of the day, though, the Clipper Stadium stay packed. So the numbers prove that they should have it. But when you got major cities and also cities like Seattle that's fiending for a team because their team got stolen, and you look at LA got two of them bitches, I'm like, yo, what the hell going on, man?
1992 that the team finally made the playoffs again, but they would lose in the first round.
And it's not
they
just
would
them.
repeat
Any
the
city,
exact
though. It's
same
not just
thing the
LA.
year
Any
after.
city.
It would take until the
York.
2006 season for the team to make the playoffs and win their first playoff series in 50 years. Throughout this time, the Clippers have had to watch as the Lakers became one of the greatest teams in the NBA. While the Lakers continued to win multiple championships in different eras of the NBA, the Clippers hadn't even made it to the conference finals once. Things turned around for them in the early 2010s, in which Chris Paul and Blake Griffin were the main stars of the team in what became known as Lob City.
They shouldn't even got
With
that.
Griffin and Paul, the team was consistently making the playoffs, and were finally doing better than the Lakers were. But even with making the playoffs all the time, the team still did not make it to the conference finals, and the Lob City era eventually faded to nothing. In 2019, the Clippers were able to completely restart and become a contender to win the finals after superstars Kawhi Leonard and Paul George joined the team. Kawhi Leonard had just helped the Toronto Raptors win their first championship, so the Clippers were expecting the same thing from him. The first season under the Kawhi and PG era was great, but with the COVID pandemic happening, the NBA playoffs were gonna be weird. At first, it didn't seem like much of a problem for
Didn't
them.
y'all blow a
They
3-1?
finished as the 2 seed in the playoffs and were able to keep the Mavericks from pulling off the first round upset. In the second round, they had a 3-1 lead against the Denver Nuggets.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
And only needed to win one more game in order to advance to the conference finals for the first time ever. But because the Clippers are a cursed team, they went on to lose the series in one of the most embarrassing playoff chokes.
No wonder why the Clippers fans always want to talk about the goddamn bubble and call it Mickey. Your team went out there and blew a 3-1 lead, bro. No wonder, bro. Pack it up.
Ever. The team was finally able to make it to the conference finals the next season. After being down 2-0 to the Utah Jazz in the second round, the team won 4 straight games to make it to the conference finals for the first time ever. If there was ever a year to win a championship, it was this year. But again, because the Clippers are a cursed team, Kawhi Leonard was injured and he was not able to play in the conference finals, and the team would end up losing to the Phoenix Suns and miss their chance on making it to the finals. Would the Clippers have won the finals that year if Kawhi Leonard wasn't injured? I don't know.
I don't know. I think they could have, bro. One thing that I learned is whenever this nigga on the court and playing, I do not question Kawhi Leonard. This nigga is him, bro. For real, bro. That nigga is cold as fuck. So one of the things that's just stopping him is just injuries.
Nobody will ever know for sure. They certainly had a chance to do it. Since making the conference finals in 2021, the team has not won a playoff series. And just recently, they lost another Game 7 to the Denver Nuggets.
All right.
The Clippers have been a consistent standard of failure in American sports. But if we want to find one that's even more disappointing, we'll have to travel north.
Damn, Seattle. Trash ass niggas.
The Seattle Mariners
Every time, I don't know why. Every time I'm doing something, it's like Seattle. It'd be so random. I decided to go to Seattle last year. Who fucking knew? When I went up there, the Astros was playing. Also, boom, some major shit was going on recently. All of a sudden, Seattle was down here playing. It's like, I can't get away from this fucking baseball team. And on top of that, these niggas decided to beat the Astros in the most annoying time. Y'all niggas kind of annoying.
played their first season in 1977. It would take until 1995 for the team to make the postseason for the first time. Nearly 20 years passed before they ever made it to the postseason. Part of that is with how the MLB postseason was to be structured. Until 1994, only 4 teams in the entire league made it to the postseason. Still, taking nearly 20 years to make it to your first postseason is pretty sad. It's not like the Mariners had great teams that were getting screwed by the postseason format. The team only had a winning record twice before they made their first postseason appearance. It would take until the 2000s for the Mariners to become a good team. The team made the playoffs in 2000, but lost in the ALCS to the Yankees. In 2001, the team was historically great, winning 116 games, which is a record that has not been broken since. This was their time. All the years of losing seasons had led to this moment. They were going to go to the World Series and win it all. The Mariners won their first round matchup, and when they got to the ALCS, they lost again.
12-3 is crazy.
Into right field.
Shit.
Yankees for the 4th year in a row.
Damn.
The Fall Classic.
That season must have been their one shot at glory.
He didn't read. I'm sorry. I was looking on the video.
The team would win 93 games, but missed the postseason.
Yo, Simmons!
Three-pointer.
My bad about that game. I was locked in on the goddamn video,
It's good.
man.
Wins the game at the buzzer.
Chat, please. Y'all already spammed every, so that's on me. Thank y'all for spamming those. Yo, I appreciate you.
Both times. Everything would spiral down from there. After a few years of promise, the team started losing a lot more. It would take them 20 years for them to make the postseason again, which is one of the worst droughts in MLB history. Not all hope is lost for the Mariners. Seattle has had winning seasons for the past couple of years, even if they haven't been able to make the playoffs since 2022. The Mariners will have a good chance to make the postseason again.
I gotta go to
year.
y'all game in y'all damn arena,
It
though.
might just be the worst
Y'all
sports
stadium.
team in America. But there's still one more team that I think is even worse than all of the teams that I just mentioned. A team that has been so bad throughout its history that they are often ignored by everyone else. This team has the honor, or rather the disgrace, of being my pick for the worst sports team in America.
I be saying it. I be saying it. I be saying it, bro. Do you know? It was a year when like 3 to 4 Texans players was on the Cardinals. And I was like, bro, man, I hate that they left, but you know what? I hope that y'all win something in the Cardinals. And this fan base had the nerve to tell me, nah, nigga, we don't want you over here. You bad luck. Nigga, your team bad luck. It can't get no worse. It can't get no worse.
The Arizona Cardinals are a sum of all the bad parts of a sports team. If you took the bad season records of the Columbus Blue Jackets, the lack of playoff wins of the Los Angeles Clippers, and the postseason droughts of the Seattle Mariners, you would get the Arizona Cardinals. The team got its start as the Chicago Cardinals in 1920. The team struggled to put together any sort of success. In 1943, the team went 0-10, and they're one of the only teams in the NFL to have a season without winning a single game. The only time this team has seen any real success was when they won the NFL championship in 1947. I can see the argument already. How can they be considered the worst team ever if they've won a championship before? You got rid of the Browns and Lions for the exact same reason. But there's a major difference between the Browns and Lions compared to the Cardinals. The Browns and Lions were dynasties of the time, with each of them winning 4 championships. The Arizona Cardinals only have that one championship to show for.
They got they one
during
off.
a time in which the league had about a dozen or so teams. After winning the
That's why
championship,
I'm counting
the
this
team
shit.
did not make the playoffs once during the 1950s. The team eventually moved to St. Louis in 1960. Nothing changed with the move. the Cardinals continued to have losing records and miss the playoffs.
Damn.
It took until 1974 and 1970.
Wait a fucking minute. How do you end up with a tie for 3 straight seasons? You niggas is ass.
Have losing records and miss the playoffs. It took until 1974 and 1975 for the team to make the playoffs, but both times the team lost their first playoff game.
You know what? I'm going to get him a pass. That must be before the NFL had overtime at all. I'm going to get him a pass for that.
The rest of the 70s went by without the team making it back to the playoffs. The Cardinals finally made the playoffs again in 1982, a season that saw a huge players' strike, and the team finished with a record of 5-4. They would lose. It took until 1998 for them to make the playoffs again, in which the team finally won a playoff game. They would end up losing their next game in the divisional round. This pattern has mostly been the story for the Cardinals. They'll go through long stretches of losing seasons, eventually have a year or two of success and make the playoffs, lose in the first or second round of the playoffs, and go back to having losing seasons. Arizona had their chance to change this narrative forever. In 2008,
It was in a bowl.
the team won their division with a 10-6 record and were the 4th seed in the playoffs.
Reebok, we miss you.
People were expecting the usual from the Cardinals. Maybe they'll win a game, but they are definitely not contending for the Super Bowl. Well, the team won their wildcard game against the Falcons and beat the Carolina Panthers in the divisional round. And after holding off the Eagles in the NFC Championship, the team found themselves in the Super Bowl against the mighty Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers were not going to be
That was a
an easy
good-ass
team to
game
beat.
too, bro.
The Cardinals found themselves down 20-7 entering the fourth quarter, and all hope looked lost. But the team started coming back. Down by 4 points, quarterback Kurt Warner found star wide receiver Larry Fitzgerald over the middle, and Larry took off running.
Great fucking game, bro. But then
Call it luck, call it a great play, call it an intervention from God.
the way that
Whatever
that
it
shit
was,
ended.
the Arizona Cardinals found themselves 2 minutes and 37 seconds away from winning the Super Bowl. Decades of frustration would finally come to an end. All the Cardinals needed to do was get a stop on defense, and they were champions. But the defense wasn't stopping Pittsburgh. The Steelers were marching down the field, and before you knew it, they were only 10 yards away from scoring a touchdown.
Back
I
corner.
think you all know what happened next.
A fucking dot. Oh my goodness. That's a good ass video.
The Cardinals have not made it back to the Super Bowl since. Instead of ending their legacy of failure and pain, the Super Bowl loss became their defining moment. It's hard to tell when the Cardinals will have their next shot at making the Super Bowl. The team has struggled to make the playoffs, let alone win any sort of games in the postseason. All the losing seasons have just stacked on each other. The few playoff appearances have ended in nothing. And when they had their one shot at glory, the team could not get it done. This is why I feel confident in saying that the Arizona Cardinals are the worst American sports team.
Damn. And the thing about it is, bro, yo, no cap, this nigga, I gotta see what else kind of videos you got, 'cause this is a great video. Bro, the Cardinals, I can speak for this year. They have a fun team to watch, bro. It's just, they are missing a lot. They missing a lot of shit, bro. They missing a lot of shit, especially offensive line. But I genuinely do root for y'all niggas. I hope that y'all can get to the playoffs. But y'all niggas have been ass, and I don't disagree with this video. That made me upset. W video, bro. All right, bang.